I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV, Velocities in Music, the best kept secret in music reviews. Today we're going to review a brand new record, the second debut. It's the second debut full length from a Philadelphia-based band called Vacationer. The album title is Relief. This is their sophomore release. So this is an interesting style to jump into because first of all, it screams like hipster indie to me, and which I'm just gonna come out and say like always excites me because it's just the sort of thing that I like. But moreover, it definitely, like, I got just tons of dream pop vibes from this. Now, Wikipedia classifies this as new American hula music. Yeah. Whatever the hell that means. To me, this is indie pop with some dream pop mixed together, and it has some worldly influences, which is what I think the Wikipedia genrealization is. That's not a word, but what they're going for there. You hear, like, I would say that I would draw comparisons like other bands in this genre, Beach House, Youth Lagoon. The vocals remind me a lot of one of the guys from Phenomena, and then Vampire Weekend. Vampire Weekend very much does some similar things here. They're just a bit more progressive in their songwriting and structures and things like that. For all intents and purposes, though, this is fairly structured music. You have just, you know, generic pop structures, you know, well written, albeit generic. You have a verse and big choruses and verses and big choruses. And really what you have is you have a little bit of guitar in every track, you know, some bass. Usually there's some other instruments in there, but it has that worldly feel to it. Tom, what was your take on the sound of Relief?
Well, the sound, I think you really, you know, did it for nailing the style. The thing about the sound is that, you know, we can talk about genre, we can talk about indie pop, you know, kind of dream pop, that's all there. But to me, this album just sounds very clean. Yes. Very pure sounding.
It's all about production. Yeah. Everything is so specific.
And they really nail it just with the name of the band, the name of the album cover. Yeah. It does feel like, you know, I could picture putting this on, you know, if I'm in Hawaii, sitting on one of those kind of beach houses, even beach houses. There's a band that I compare it to in some ways.
In a dream.
Exactly. But whereas those bands tend to kind of have a more, not necessarily lo-fi, but more indie production style where there's lots of reverb, things sound maybe a little bit obscured on purpose. I didn't get a big vibe from that on here. You know, not that there's no reverb, but especially the vocals are just so pristine and they're so upfront. And to me, the vocals were always the focal point of the music, especially when you listen to this at first. And I gotta say, at first, I actually really did not like this album for that reason, because the vocals, to me, they come off as sounding very kind of pretty boy, chorus boy.
They certainly do.
Almost too clean. Yeah. And if you know, if you've watched this show much before, you know that I like a little bit of grit. I like that because I think it makes the music more human. It makes it a bit more authentic and genuine. And I feel like this just sounded a little bit contrived. Now, I really got over that, and I came up on this album a lot because once you get past that, you realize that there's just a lot of good songwriting.
There really are.
The melodies are well constructed. I think that while the sound is very focused stylistically, each song is able to develop its own kind of musical identity. The melodies are very well crafted and they really stick with you. They're memorable, but you know, they're similar enough for the album to sound focused, but they're different enough that I don't think it gets stale. I don't think all these songs just sound the same. They also do a great job with a lot of cool little guitar flutters. Like on track 3, Glimpse, track 5, Shining. Those are two that come to mind when it comes to those guitar lines. And those really stick with me, and they kind of prime you for when the vocals come in.
Totally, and they're also mixing in electronic melodies with that. And it's never overbearing, and that's something that I've always respected about really any artist, but especially in this genre or like genres, is when, you know, you can have guitar melody and then, or piano melody or some sort of like normal instrument melody, and you're mixing in small, minimal, yet still potent electronic melodies along with that, and it just really makes a harmonious sound. I like that. The vocals are just where the melody, the real melody, is hit home. A lot of these choruses are very memorable, very well written, very well executed, and if you like high quality vocals, this is an album I would steer you towards, which you don't often hear coming from Tom and I, because we do seem to prefer grittier, you know, more flamboyant vocals. This is very just well sung. So, but the thing thing that got me, the thing that really sucked me in and set this apart is the inherent percussive nature of each one of these tracks. These tracks would be nothing without the rhythm that they provide. And most of these tracks, all of my track picks for sure, have this driving beat to them, just just a constant attention to that beat, pushing the sound forward. And it's almost like the rest of the song, like it has that laid back feel to it, but it contrasts with that beat ever pushing the sound forward. And it makes this little tension. And while these songs are upbeat and fun and easy listening, you also have this underlying tension. And that to me, that dichotomy just shows grand design in songwriting. And I think it's really impressive. And not to mention, I think it just makes the songs more listenable and it adds to that world beat sort of thing. To point out a couple tracks that I think do this particularly well. Track 2, Paradise Waiting. Track 6, In the Grass, and the topper for me is track 9, The Wildlife, which it has just the monumental driving beat that honestly, like, has made that one of my favorite tracks I've heard this year. Now, I listened to this album, and probably one of the reasons why I was drawn into these beats is that I listen to this album a lot when I've been doing these big, long runs. And so I'm running like 5 miles, and coincidentally, this album is a little over 40 minutes long. That's also my goal, to finish the 5 miles in. So, like, the fact that it's like driving beats, it's uplifting music, it's a sunny, nice day out, and I'm listening to Vacationer. It's like pretty much the perfect running album, and therefore I think inflated my score a little bit, just because I fell in love with this record for its general mood. This is all about the mood. It's uplifting, it's fun, it makes you want to just be happy and be outside, and that's something that is inherently human in all of us, I think. So it does resonate with you. However, I did come down on this album a little bit, I gotta say. So Tom, even though we're, I think, gonna end in similar places, we're coming from two totally different directions here, because I was like high 80s on this, thinking this is like one of the best albums of the year, and I've totally gone away from that and come down on it, because what I would say is that these songs are too inherently structured. Everything is so perfect that it's almost truncating some of the experimentalism or eclecticism that they could have had they just pushed the boundaries a little bit more. What I would look from Vacationer in the future is to do that, to get away from sticking to the solid structure and being willing on at least a few tracks to reach and push the sound forward, instead of just adhering to the same strict rubric of how they create a good Vacationer song.
Yeah, and I'll be interested to see where they go, because I could see them going in any direction. I could see this getting a little bit weirder, seeing it getting a little more indie, kind of like what we saw Youth Lagoon do. Also, I gotta say, a lot of this I could see fitting on what's popular on the radio these days with bands like The Neighborhood and Bastille and American Authors and stuff like that you're hearing a lot now. I couldn't like them anymore. Well, no, exactly. Then anyone in the indie sphere would be obliged to hate them. So
they would be my least favorite. I don't even like Radiohead. They play Body Snatchers on our local radio. I can't even like them anymore.
No, yeah.
I'm over it. Yeah. I'm over it. So yeah, it will be cool to see where they go. And for now, I can like them and enjoy Vacationer and Relief, because this is a pretty, well, I haven't heard anything about this record. We stumbled upon it and just started listening to it, and I was attracted to it, and you didn't like it, so I knew it would make for, at least good discussion, and we ended up in the same spot, which I'm a 78 on this
I'm
record.
a 78.
So that's the mark of an album that we would recommend to you, that we think is pretty darn good, but that we're not in love with. However, we're curious to hear what you guys would think of Relief, Vacationer's second release. Tell us your thoughts. How did you interpret the sound? How did you like Relief? Leave us a comment at www.velocitiesofmusic.com or youtube.com/velocitiesofmusic. Now, as always, follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and let Tom or myself know if there's any albums that you'd like to see us review on this channel. I am Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are VIM TV, moving music critique forward.